Coming off the second weekend of games in the NFL season, several starting players are already hurt. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Carson Wentz and Houston Texans QB Tyrod Taylor are just two of the top stars who were injured yesterday. Those injuries this early in the season have left teams scrambling on how to adjust. Will Brinson joins me now to recap the weekend. He's a senior NFL writer for CBS Sports. Will, good to see you, my friend. So a lot of injuries early this season. What's the worst case scenario for teams impacted so far?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your situation, right, Vlad? But if you look at the Colts, they're 0-2. Carson Wentz suffered an ankle injury that forced him out of the game. He tried to come back in and said that it tightened up, it stiffened up too much for him to come back. And they gave away a high pick to get Carson Wentz. And the only other quarterback they have on that roster that's really going to play is Jacob Eason. So they're in a tough spot. For the Texans, they have to play on Thursday night, and Tyrod Taylor unlikely to play, which means it's going to be rookie quarterback David Mills or non-suspended but kind of investigated, not by the NFL, but sort of by the NFL and definitely by authorities in Houston, Deshaun Watson, who is actually, eligible to play. That's a tricky situation. I would say the Dolphins, too. If anything serious happened to Tua Tagovailoa, and this is a guy they drafted with a really high draft pick, expected to be a franchise quarterback, and now may not be available early in the season in 2021, that could force them into doing something desperate to try and make a move for a team that wanted to go to the playoffs.
The New Orleans Saints were it says we're washed.
Yeah, they got blasted by the Panthers.
I was going to say, I don't know what that means, but I'm looking at the prompter there. I'm guessing it means a blowout. I was actually watching my wife win an Emmy last night. I wasn't really paying attention to too much football.
Congratulations.
But, yeah, thanks. But so I guess they got beat by the Carolina Panthers last night, 26-7. What happened?
Well, Carolina, actually, it turns out, may just have a very good defense that is taking a leap forward a year earlier than we thought. And Sam Darnold, now out from under Adam Gase, who he was with last year, of course, in the previous few years in New York. It turns out if you play for Adam Gase and then go play somewhere else, you immediately become much better. I do think, though, that the Saints were hampered by losing 8 coaches to COVID protocols. That's just something that's going to be I was cheering for your wife. That's what happened to my voice. I was cheering for the I was actually at a wedding in Charlottesville. Shout out to Jake and Michelle.
Nice.
But what happened is, you lose these 8 coaches to the COVID protocols, and it just becomes more difficult to prepare. And you have to deal with that as part of the game day situation. This is really the first case we've seen of a team that, was probably at a competitive disadvantage because of losing folks to a COVID protocol so far early in the NFL season.
So you mentioned this already, or you sort of teased to it, that there are 8 Saints assistant coaches that had to miss Sunday's game after testing positive for COVID-19. How much of a wild card will the coronavirus be this season in the NFL? And, I asked that because last year, as we talked last year, the strategy was sort of to take it as each. In other words, the NFL was much more amenable to coronavirus and people getting sick, but now they're saying you've got to put these measures into place, and if you can't field the team, then you forfeit that game. You might have to pay fees or fines to the NFL. So yeah, break it down.
I think I know where you're going with this. Essentially, there are 2 different types of protocols, right? There's a vaccinated protocol and there's an unvaccinated protocol. And if you're vaccinated, life is a lot easier for you on a week-to-week basis, and you will be able to play. You can get a negative test and be back there out there playing. If you're unvaccinated, you're going to miss 10 days, and that means you're going to miss multiple games. And if an outbreak is caused by an unvaccinated player, it could cause a team to forfeit a game. The 2 most notable unvaccinated players are Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins. Both have been fine so far this year, haven't had to deal with any issues. But the risk you run, through the process is that it's gonna, you just don't know. Like, you could have a close contact that has nothing to do with what you did over the course of the week or how you acted, throughout the, taking safety measures. You could just, somebody else could, have it. You could just come to close contact with somebody and be forced to miss time. And so that's really the concern for these teams who have those unvaccinated players. But thus far, really, outside that Saints issue, it hadn't been too bad.
All right. Will Brinson, my friend, thank you very much. Congratulations to the happy couple. And
congratulations to your wife.
Yeah, thanks very much, my brother. Appreciate it.
See you, man.